Welcome back, everyone. Chris here, episode 6 of Eyes on the Ball. As you can see again, Rob not with us. Very unfortunate, but honestly, I'm not sure when we'll have him back again. We might have to blackball him from the podcast now. I'm not gonna lie, it might be over for him. He might be banned from this shit. um, but yeah, we'll try to get him back on future episodes. This might turn into like a Chris only thing now. It might only be me. I might only hear me for a couple episodes from here on out. At least maybe till next season, or maybe more, maybe trade rumors, so that he can come back and discuss some information about his team or whatever. But anyways, it's been a while since our last episode. I think it has been more than a week already for sure. A lot has happened. Um, Awards, teams disqualified, crazier, intense moments in the conference finals as well. But let's get right into it. I don't really have a lot of things like kind of like stats or facts again. I apologize. That's on me. That's on me. That's on me. Um, a lot of it is just like from my memory of what has happened the past few games. Um, I think realistically, though, with the current conference finals right now, I feel like they're both up. No, no, actually, Tim's. I was about to say they're both up 2-0 right now, but they're actually not. Um, the Timberwolves did win last night, so it's 2-1. But before I go into that, let me speak about what happened before with the Thunder and Nuggets game 7. Um, that was such a disappointing game. So disappointing. It sucks that we witnessed such an intriguing series from both teams. Especially it's like one team that's very experienced, has a lot of veteran players, and the best. They also have the best in the world with Jokic, but it just was not enough for OKC. And it's very interesting as well to me how OKC decided to respond. Um, it was basically a repeat of game 2, where they just played no games at all. Um, I unfortunately did not watch the game. I was out, which sucked. I did actually really want to watch that game, but all I can imagine is that they basically did the same thing that they did in game 2, which was just play hard from the beginning, be ultra aggressive, and Shea, like in game 2, was the leader of that. And again, I can only assume that happened with Game 7. So I won't talk about it too much, Game 7 too much, because then I didn't watch it. I don't want to speak too much on it because I'm just not aware of what happened entirely. Um, Hold on. It's not moving. But anyways, bruv, we'll skip over that. But I think yeah, I was just the Nuggets lost. Um, they OKC responded the way that I thought they would respond to. Um, I think one thing that OKC was like kind of doing is that during that series with that they were like really in their head a lot. With the Nuggets, like it really was like an IQ kind of series where like both it was like Jokic and the coaches kind of like battling each other. In terms of like there's like IQ plays and stuff like that. Um, so that made it very interesting. Um, but I think it was just OKC. They just figured it out. They figured them out. Game 7, they figured that zone out. They figured out how they wanted to play. And yeah, they just whooped ass that game 7. Again, disappointing. Um, from the Nuggets. I feel like a lot of it also has to do with like Aaron Gordon just being like not the player that he was game 1 through 6, which is apparent because of the injury, and for sure he's a fucking trooper for that shit. I mean that was just for him to play through that, and put up like respectable numbers too. I think he had like points, 12 rebounds, semi efficient, I think. But but yeah, I mean, standing ovation for Aaron Gordon. I mean, that guy's a fucking trooper. That guy wants to win. He's a fucking winner. But again, the injury hindered his play. And the Nuggets just didn't have enough firepower for that game 7. So yeah, that's over. And of course now they're playing the Timberwolves. Um, Timberwolves did beat the Warriors. We knew that was gonna happen as soon as Curry went out. To be honest, if they had taken one game, maybe it would have been different, and Curry might have actually played. But I still don't think it was enough. I think the Timberwolves' talent is just they have too many talented players, and then Randall as well was just like taking advantage of the fact that they didn't have a formidable enough center or any rim protection that could really stop him at all. So that kind of just like I think it was just like a even if Ant had bad games, Julius Randle was gonna keep on having great games because they just didn't have what it took to stop him. Um, yeah, the East. I know. So before, so the Pacers beat the Celtics. I mean, wow, what the fuck? The Knicks beat the Celtics, which is great, awesome. Was the Pacers versus Cavs? Yeah, Pacers versus Cavs, and yeah, um, was the series before the current series, which is the Pacers and Knicks right now. But yeah, Pacers versus Cavs. Like I think there was like when it comes, I think you kind of look at that game and you kind of look at Donovan Mitchell. I don't think you blame it on him, but I think there has been a lot of times where he is in that situation where he has to put the team on his back, whether it be injuries or they just don't have what it takes to respond to the type of defense that they're going through in the playoffs. Um, I think I saw a stat where he had like a usage rate of 41%, which is insane for any type of player. And I feel like what kind of ruins that number for him is that he isn't necessarily a playmaker. He's really just a scorer. But the problem is when it comes to playoffs, it's like you can score as much as you want. If you're not playing defense, you're just giving it up on the other end. And I don't think Donovan Mitchell's a bad defender, but the Cavs' defense was just not enough for the Pacers. The Pacers are such a fast paced team, and they do anything. They always again they make the right decisions. They are selfless with the ball. They do everything right. So I think it was just like an onslaught of points being scored. Evan Mobley himself was just not enough to stop the Pacers, and yeah, so great game, great series in general from Donovan Mitchell, I think, but I think until he makes that playmaking leap, like it's just not gonna be like they are not. He's not gonna be able to get the team to cross the line that they want to cross. Obviously, they have Darius Garland to kind of do that, but him being injured unfortunately kind of fucked up everything as well. Um, but yeah, that series was over with. Um, yeah, but now you have Pacers versus Knicks and Thunder versus Tims. Again, like it's been a while since I last recorded, so it's a lot of more different things. Or it's like the 2 games have already passed by. 3 games actually. The Pacers and Knicks are about to pass right now the third game or start their third game. Um, that fucking Knicks game, man. That Knicks and Pacers game, incredible, incredible. That's real basketball too. That was especially at in that overtime. After the incident I'll talk about right now, after happened, like that overtime, that stretch where the refs were just not just swallowing the whistle, like they were not calling anything at all, and they were just letting them boys hoop. Fucking beautiful. Like that's what like basketball is made of. Like that's what like you get on your couch and you watch basketball games. That's what you're watching for. That type of shit right there is what you're watching for. Just boys going out there to hoop, putting the ball in the fucking net no matter what, and just doing anything and everything they can to make sure that the opposing team does not score, while they do everything they can to score. And that was just amazing, amazing basketball in that little stretch in the overtime. But Knicks up 9 points with like 50 seconds left. They lose that game. They lose it. They lose that game up 9. And I'm pretty sure it was like up 15 maybe with like a minute and like 20 left. I could be wrong. I might have just made that shit up myself. I apologize greatly if I did. Um, but I mean, like, to lose that game is such a. It's one of those situations where you can't really do anything about it either, because Aaron Neesmith was just on a fucking tear. Like, he was just not missing at all. I think I had tweeted out that he was going on this heater for no reason, or that it was wasted. I fucking bit my words. I swallowed my words after. That shit was definitely needed. um, I mean, he looked like Curry out there. Everything and anything that he was putting up was resulting in a make from the 3 point line. And I mean, what made it worse was everybody knew he was going to continue to take those 3 points, those 3 pointers, and he still continued to splash them. He just continued to just let the flamethrower go. Um, I think he made six. He was like he made six threes in that in those like fucking minute. Those like 2 fucking minutes. Like what? Like that's a performance that like is gonna that's gonna be a historic performance like that. That's gonna be like in 10 years from now. Like even if the Pacers don't win or whatever, like don't win at all, that's gonna be like a performance like 10 years from now. People are gonna look back and be like, "Oh, like literally the Tracy McGrady thing." Like I think people are gonna like in 10 years, like meme the fuck out of that performance, and use it as like ways to like just like up there like whatever they want to do in their fantasy or whatever. But yeah, I mean that was fucking an incredible shooting from Naismith. He ended the game with 30 points. Um, and that fucking Halliburton shot at the end, man. That fucking Halliburton shot at the end. That was just it was just fucking disgusting. Just a, I when he it was seven. So what happened? I don't remember if the Knicks scored before Hallie made that shot. All I remember was that it was 7 seconds left. The Pacers had to come back, had to cross the full court with 7 seconds left, or something like that. Um, and so Tyrese drives to the rim. I guess what happens is that like he kind of goes for a gather from outside of the rim or outside of the perimeter, the 3 point line, or like he picks it up or something like that. But then he stops in his tracks because Mitchell Robinson is like right in front of him. It's like, oh fuck, I can't do anything. I might be fucked. But then in that split second, Mikhail taps the ball, and it allows him to like bring the ball back. So he tries to go to the make a layup or like a lane, go downhill. Sees Mitchell Robinson. Mikhail taps the ball. He's able to run back to the perimeter, and so he goes to the perimeter and puts up a fucking 3 pointer with like a second left, and it completely just like it literally it does like the people say the Hawaii shot, but I think it's honestly it's just like the Damian Lillard shot from the bubble, where it like hits the back of the rim, fucking flies up, and then just goes right down back into the net. Luckily, it was a 2 pointer. I mean, it doesn't fucking matter because the Pacers won regardless, but it was a 2 pointer. Um, and the first thing he fucking does is a Reggie Miller choke, which is again hilarious because I think everybody who knows Tyrese Halliburton knew that he was about to start. He was gonna do some troll shit, and that's exactly what he did as soon as he had the chance. That shit was fucking crazy. I was like, that's basketball. That's basketball, man. I like that KD clip about him crying about basketball. Like that's exactly what that is. That's just a real fucking basketball. I loved it. Um, I think, fuck, I don't have the fucking stats. So I don't want to. I don't know if that's the game where Jalen Brunson had like fucking almost 40 points, but Jesus, man, I think, and it's so interesting too because I feel like so yeah, obviously Pacers won that game, and then the next game I also did not watch. Again, I apologize greatly. Um, I think the Pacers were up like they had like a sizable lead on them for like a lot of the game. But yeah, but it's I think it's so interesting to me because I feel like the Knicks have what it takes to beat the Pacers. They just are not beating them. I think a lot of it has to do from the fact that the Pacers bench is a lot more deeper than the Knicks, and that they are able to again play in the system that they have. Um, I think everybody on the Pacers being a player whom can keep the ball in a secure kind of area in terms of like dribbling, just like making sure that they are don't turn the ball over often. Also, is makes it hard for the Knicks wings to defend. Um, and then again, it's like everybody on that team is just making the right play at the right time every single time. So it's just I think it's just hard for the Knicks defenders to like decide what they want to do in terms of stopping them. Um, but yeah, they play it again like no, they playing like the game already started, but tip off is until like another like 10 minutes probably. Um, I think the Knicks win tonight. They, I hope they win tonight if they wanna win the series. I hope they win tonight. But if not, I mean, then it's over, and the Knicks and the Pacers beat the Knicks, which would be fucking terrible for the Knicks, especially after beating the Celtics too, like the past reigning champions. Obviously, Tatum was injured. I don't think they would have lost the game that Tatum got injured in, anyways, because I mean Tatum was injured with like a maybe 3 minutes left. They were up a sizable amount, so they were gonna win that game anyways. Could they have done something if Tatum? Could they have turned the series around if Tatum had played the last game? Maybe, maybe. I don't think it's off the table, but it didn't happen, so it doesn't matter. But but yeah, I mean, obviously it didn't happen. He was injured, but anyways, yeah. I mean, that was just. I'm just extremely interested to see what is gonna happen tonight. I'm excited to see the coverages that are gonna go down when guarding Halliburton. Um, I do think and Neesmith as well. Um, I know that they benched Cat. I think in the fourth, he didn't play in the fourth, which is interesting as well. But I don't know. It's just a lot of interesting things going on with that series, where I don't really, I can't really predict what's gonna happen. It's such a weird series in terms of just like what can happen. Um, I think Jalen Brunson is just continuing to be the best player that he is, that he can be. Continuing to be the best Knicks player, and I think he's probably the best player in that series, right? But it doesn't matter. I think in this day and age with how the NBA is, it's not a it's I don't it's no longer about who's the best player in terms of both teams. It's literally who has the worst player out of both teams and who's gonna see and is that player gonna get the minutes that they're gonna get, and can that team take advantage of the team that has the worst player out of the two. Um, but yeah, that's for the Eastern Conference Finals. Now the Western Conference Finals. I have been paying a lot more attention to these to this. I think a lot of it is because like I watch like my team is from the West, so I don't watch a lot of Eastern Conference games. Um, so yeah, like yeah. Oh my God, I almost I almost said something else. But anyways, um, but yeah. So the Timberwolves and the Thunder. So prior to the series starting, I had the idea in my mind that the this series was either going to be a lot harder for the Thunder than the Nuggets, or a lot easier than the Nuggets. The reason why is because um I am on the notion that the Timberwolves have a lot more talented players in terms of widely kind of spread, like a widespread amount of talented players than the Nuggets, meaning players who can create their own shot, can shoot, can defend really well, where they don't have a lot of holes in their defense, and are just athletes. The Nuggets didn't really have that. They just didn't have that with their players, especially players you can rely on. But and so that's why I kind of had the idea that it was going to be a lot harder, especially again because they're shooters, and OKC in terms of their defense, they what their main goal with their defense is to always pack the paint, always pack the paint. They have great perimeter defenders in Caruso, Case, and Dort, and so when it comes to guards in the perimeter, or just any kind of perimeter deterrence, they have those three guard or those three guard wings defenders, whatever. And so they have that. But again, at the end of the day, their 3 point defense is not the best. What does that mean? If you have a team that can shoot well from three, then that's the hole in their defense that you want to take advantage of. And again, the Timberwolves have the players necessary who are going to be able to have that 3 point shooting talent. Now, are they going to be able to execute? That's a different story. But the Tims have that, and that's why I kind of had the idea in my mind that they were going to be harder than the Nuggets. But again, I also thought it would be easier, and a lot of it is more so just because the OKC is just again just it's kind of like the same thing as the Timberwolves, where their players are just like every one of them is just extremely talented and extremely great at what they do, but they don't turn over the ball much. All of them can are shot creators and they can handle the ball. Like a lot of them don't really turn the ball over. They're able to. I don't want to say they can all always create their own shot, but most of the time like they all have this like kind of like mid range game to them that kind of makes them harder to defend. If they're going downhill or at the perimeter, I think it adds like a kind of like psychological effect to defenders where they kind of don't know what to expect when they score. So I think that's the issue with them, and again, like you just took Denver to 7 games and you clocked them, and realistically, like if it wasn't up to this point, like if it wasn't the Thunder that would make it out, then it would be the Nuggets in terms of like who would probably like win the ring for this year. Out of those two teams, like again, everybody believed that whoever won that game was gonna win the entire thing. So you gotta kind of have in your mind already that okay, they took the toughest team to 7. They've grown a lot in that series, which they did because not only the players but the coaches as well. I feel like they kind of just like after experiencing the zone so much from that Denver team that no matter what the Timberwolves do to them in this game, like they've seen it all. They know what to do. So yeah, that's why I kind of assumed that it would be easier on the other side as well. Um, those first 2 games, disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Um, a lot of the discourse for the first game and the second game too, but more so the first game. I feel like was about officiating and referees. Tell me about it. Anyways, um, when it comes to the officiating for the free throws for Shea, in my sole opinion, I don't believe that the sheer number is the issue. Um, especially because when you look at the fact that, like for example, the numbers say that he drives the most. So obviously, if you drive the most, then you're gonna get the most free throws. And it's not that black and white, but people like to say that. But I think there is some truth to it. Like it makes sense, right? Um, I think what's interesting though about that idea is like, although Shea is a great uh slasher and he's great inside the paint, a lot of his shots are mid ranges. So I don't want to say that like all of his shots when he drives to the paint are going to be like like a layup or whatever. Like most of his game is mid ranges, so it's not that his drives are always gonna finish in a layup. Like they might finish in a pull up, in a turnaround fader, whatever. So if you think about it like that, it's like, okay, is he getting fouled on his drives to the rim, or is he getting fouled in his jump shots? Again, that's a whole other topic of discussion too. But I think the main problem is there's two problems. I think the one is that you cannot touch Shea if you're defending him because he's able to take advantage of you being too handsy on him. Even though sometimes I do think the action is a lot more um, kind of like he tends to over exaggerate the actions to get the call. I think most of the time, I think which is like completely fair to say, because there's a lot of videos that show him kind of being over dramatic on certain calls. But not only is it that problem, but I think on the flip side, when it comes to the teams playing against OKC, is that their defenders are very much allowed to play very handsy, and if you try to do the same, like again, like to Shea, then you get called for it. But they don't get called for being too handsy on you. So I think it creates this boiling frustration where it's hard to play against a team like that. And a lot of I don't want to say a lot of people because it's really just OKC fans, but a lot of people kind of say that OKC defense like just melts teams kind of like conscious or like their mentality. But I feel like I think I think the fact that there are so many people whom are not only just fans but people in the NBA, like coaches who talk about the fact that they are not allowed to play like super physical against OKC. Like I think there's like, oh yes, a lot of it can be complaining, but I think a lot of it is also like there's truth to what they're saying, especially because again, like if you watch the games, like you can see Caruso fouling a lot, and they just don't call it, and that's like a defender who understands that he might not get called, but he also understands like he's gonna keep playing this physical defense until he gets called for it, and that's fine. I think with that mentality, I think that's cool because it kind of like builds this kind of level of like, okay, I know how physical I can get, how what they're allowing me to do, but the only reason I know is by like being over dramatic with my kind of my defense and being super handsy. So I think him doing that is fine as long as he understands. Like again, at the end of the day, if they're gonna call the fouls on him, then that's gonna stop him from trying to do what he does by being super handsy. And we saw it with Caruso. I mean, we saw it with Jokic how he gets, and we also saw it with Jaren Jackson Jr. in the Grizzlies series, where he gets very very physical, and they don't really call it too much, but they called it in game 2 though, which is interesting because he fouled out. But it doesn't matter anyways because the Thunder still beat the shit out of the Timberwolves regardless. Um, but yeah, I think that's where the frustration comes from. I think foul baiting itself and officiating, I think that's like a whole nother topic of discussion where I might bring up later down the line, depending on what goes on in the off season and stuff like that, or like topics to talk about later in the postseason. I mean off season, but yeah. So, anyways, Tim's lost game 1 and game 2. Again, Shea took advantage of the physical defense. I think Ant had a really, really, really great game 2. I think he had like 32 points, 9 assists, 0 turnovers, and to do that against a one of the most historical defenses of all time, like an historically great defense, goes to show how great Ant is. He's slowly becoming the player that the type of guard that you want him to be and grow into. Like he's slowly developing his playmaking abilities, which is just amazing. I think it's like he's doing this in real time too, and like you can watch him too, like just you can watch him make the right plays every single time. Like he's always making the best decisions with the ball in his hands. He's being patient when they go up to double him to pass out. He isn't just doing it immediately, or um, he's going in for drives and he's kind of like instead of kind of like predicting that somebody will be there, he kind of does what he kind of ensures that somebody's where he wants to pass out to when he goes up for the line for the drive, the layup or the fake layup, the drive and kick out. Like he isn't just like passing out with the prediction that somebody will be there. Like he's kind of like ensuring that somebody is there so that when he does go for the drive and kick, they're gonna be open because Ant is gonna attract defenders coming in. So yeah, that's an amazing from him. The development is fucking beautiful. It's crazy to watch him grow as a player. Um, yeah, it's just excellent. Um, Anything else I want to talk about? In terms of OKC, so yeah, games 1 to games 2 again. Great. OKC again, just showing off their dominance. Um, Even with the physical defense, it's like what like a very important thing with OKC and what makes them so good. Like one of the things that makes them so good is that although their offense may lack sometimes or it relies heavily on um Shea, I think as well there's a lot of um he's able to kind of fall back and have those games where he's playing like buns because the defenses are so good to where they're not gonna let you score even if they can't score. Like and half of the time they're not scoring and not because because they can't score or the defense is not allowing them to score. A lot of the time that OKC doesn't score is just that they just can't put the ball in the fucking hoop, right? But even in those moments, OKC defense is just so swarming and so like it's just so volatile where even if they are in that offensive slump, they are not going to let you score. They're not going to let you build on the lead that you might or that you may or may not have. They just will not let you score. And that's one of the things again that it I think it also kind of gives a kind of like a fail safe plan for like if Shea's having a bad game or like a bad stretch. It's like okay, you know, they just tried to score on us 3 times in a row. All of them has ended in defensive rebounds. Like I think it's time to I might try to go to the free throw line. I might grift for this quick free throw. I might try to get in some rhythm. And as soon as he gets in a rhythm, it's over. It's just over, and it's such a fact. So yeah, OKC's defense is being as great as it is to where you cannot score on them even when they're not scoring. Is just it's just such a cushion for the team where they don't always have to worry about like one side of the ball. Like they kind of like usually all honestly they kind of wait for it to come to them, like their offense, or they can't be patient enough to wait for the offense to come to them, try to get into the rhythm, whether it be 3 points, mid range, driving to the paint, whatever it is. Um, they have that ability to like be patient with their offense, as long as they are energetic on their defense with their defense. So yeah, that's awesome. Um, and that's one thing you can't discredit them for. Like that defense is just, and I think that's what makes that Anthony Edwards stat line with the 9 assists so much crazier. Is like to not turn the ball over once against them. Jesus. Julius Randle, those first two games, um, stinky. I think I think it was fair to assess him and have like a result like after assessing him that the result would be that he would not be as effective this game or this series like he was with the Lakers and the Warriors, because again with this series opposing team have very great defensive orientated sensors. And again, with Julius Randle's way of bully ball, it's like if that sensor is in the paint, it's going to be a lot harder for him to be able to score because he's going to have to get through the defender on him, who's also being physical with him, and then like a 7'2" motherfucker with like a 7'6" wingspan trying to also knock the ball out of his hands. So like whatever happens, it's kind of like it's much harder for him to be able to score, especially in the paint, right? But now we're going to game three. And the Timberwolves fucking dominated them. The Timberwolves dominated them. And what did they do? They did exactly what I thought is needed to win against OKC. Respond with physicality if the refs are allowing you. And again, I don't want to make it all a ref thing, but I think there is some leeway to kind of put, I don't want to say put blame on the refs, but you have to call it both ways. Either call it both ways or don't call it at all. And I think that's what happened a lot this game as well. But anyways, they played with a lot of physicality this game, and they shot the fucking lights out. And that's exactly what you want to do against OKC. Because if you are able to shoot well from the 3-point line, the defense that they have in terms of packing the paint becomes much looser. They tend to scramble a lot more, and it becomes a lot easier to be able to score inside the perimeter if you are making it harder for them to defend out on the 3-point line in terms of actually having to pay attention to the 3-point line because they're shooting the fucking lights out. They're shooting the fucking lights out. So they beat them by 40 points. Shea had a bad game. They kind of what they did a lot was they forced him to be a playmaker in that game by not biting on the screens and pushing up on screens that iHeart would send, or any player really, that any player that would screen for Shea, the his primary defender would not step up. They kind of backed off. So what does that do? That forces him to be a 3-point shooter, which he's not necessarily the best at, and it forces him to be a playmaker, which he's not necessarily the best at. And again, and what they also did was that if Shea had tried to go through, what they did was they doubled him a lot, and they kind of just allowed it so that if Shea was to pass out, they gave the whoever was gonna get the open look, they gave that person that look. So they kind of dared them to shoot, which again is what you want to do because OKC has not been shooting the best from three anyways. They haven't been shooting the best from three at all this postseason. The really the only game that they had where they shot the best from three was I think the second game against Denver, and I think the seventh game against Denver as well. I think I could be wrong, but I know they shot really well from the second game. They shot as a team. They shot 50, 40, 90. So, but again, like other than that, like they have not been shooting the best from three the entire postseason. So they forced them to play well from. They forced them to shoot the three ball, and look what happened. Um, I think as well, like I said, the officiating, they allowed the Timberwolves to play a lot more defensive. Role players played a lot better at home, and that's what happened with the Timberwolves role players. One thing that Ant did really, and I feel like I'm seeing it a lot with these star players, what they're doing, and like a lot of them are just like completely blitzing right from the beginning of the game They're blitzing the main ball handler, and they're just taking that ball. They're seeing that they're ripping the ball from them and just getting easy fast break points. And that's what Ant was doing a lot in the first quarter. I think he finished the first quarter off for like 15 points or whatever. Um, and again, like that's what you want. That's what you want to do. That's what you want him to. You want to see him do that. You want to see him kind of be the player that is responding with energy. And he did it perfectly that game. He did it perfectly. That was amazing for him. I loved it. I loved it. Great performance from everybody in that game. Um, but yeah, again, also Terrence Shannon Jr. Sheesh, fucking hell. He had like one more point than Shea. Um, J-Dub had a bad game too. I think like he was not shooting the ball well at all. He just has those games where he just plays like shit sometimes, and it's so weird because it's like I think a lot of it is like he's just forcing shots instead of like making the right choice, and you can kind of say it's like the inexperience coming out. But I think at the same time, it's like they just played Denver out to 7 games. Like, if you're, it's not about. I don't know if it's inexperienced or this guy's just making the bad choice of of a bad shot diet. But anyways, back to Terrence. I mean, he played fucking phenomenal. I like that Finch put him in when they had a lead. I know that he's been really good. That Terrence has been really good in the regular season against OKC, but I like that Finch put him in when they had a sizable lead, to where it was like, okay, if you aren't performing the best, then like we still have the lead, like it's fine. But if you end up doing what you did in the regular season, then I mean it's even better, because now we could put trust in you, we can instill faith in you, we can kind of look forward to you playing in a future game against the OKC, and I definitely expect them to get minutes in the next game, definitely. Um, but it's very interesting to me because I think with Terrence, it was like again, my philosophy or my solution to OKC defense, again, is 3-point shooting, being able to shoot the ball, being able to play physical defense, and respond with physicality. Now, I don't think Terrence is a bad 3-point shooter, but a lot of his game is not jump shooting. He's an athletic fucking freak. He's a fucking freak of nature who's a downhill demon. And if he has that ball in any situation where he's driving to the rack, he's gonna score. He's gonna fucking score. And again, it's very. But the fact is that he can play through contact really really well. So even though Shet, being the great defender that he is, the great rim protector that he is, like it's just not enough. It's just not enough at all. Or Jalen Williams, both of them being the great defenders that they are. Well, J Dub is a great defender. Jalen Williams is like, it's a 7-footer in the paint. He's not really. I mean, I know he did really well against Jokic. I'll give him that. Like really really well against Jokic. Um, but he's not really like a great rim protector, I would say. But I mean, Terrence was scoring on him too. And again, like this is through contact. Like he's getting his and ones and shit like that. So that's again like, and I think he still shot well last night too. I could be wrong about that, but I think he shot decently well. But yeah, Terrence played his ass off. Anthony played his ass off. I said Anthony. I don't know why I said his first name like that. I do not. What the fuck? Anyways, Ant played his ass off. Julius Randle played his ass off. And again, Jaden McDaniels played his ass off. Again, as being the defender that he has to be, if they want to win this series, Jaden McDaniels has to keep playing the defense that he's playing. He has to keep on forcing Shea to be a playmaker and be a 3-point shooter. And again, not getting stuck in Shea's attempts to hook his arms and anything like that. Like he has to kind of be very disciplined with the way that he plays defense on Shea this series if they want to win. But yeah, again, like the entire team shot well from three. They forced OKC to shoot threes. They played great defense this time. And they won. They beat them by fucking 40 points. And it was a lot of people counted them out. A lot of people counted them out. And they beat them by 40 points. Now if they just won, then I think it would have still been like, okay, gentleman sweep or whatever. But they beat them by 40 points. And that's a very convincing W. To where like you can kind of imagine them going 2-2 now. So now it becomes like, okay, like the usual playoff idea where it's like it really starts when a team wins a road game. And so now we're seeing that. Now if OKC wins next game, then they probably finish it in 5. But the Timberwolves could do something crazy. They could have tied the series tomorrow. And again, damn, sheesh, excuse me. Anyways, if there is a team that could beat OKC, it's the Timberwolves. I think they're the only. Like again with the Nuggets, it was like, how hard can Jokic carry this team? I mean, he did the best he could against the coverages that they were putting on him, but again, this was not enough. Would it have ended differently if Aaron Gordon wasn't injured? I don't know. Maybe MPJ wasn't injured too. Maybe it would have ended differently. I don't fucking know. I really don't know. I think if MPJ wasn't injured, I think maybe like it would have resulted differently. Like if he was shooting the lights out like he was in game 3, I think, which is the game that the Nuggets won. I think it was game 3 or game 1. He had like 21 points or something, where he was shooting the lights out again. Like that again, he had 21 off of threes, and they won that game. And again, like that's black and white kind of surface level analysis, whatever. But again, I think it goes to show that if you really want to beat the team, beat OKC, you got to shoot well from 3. Now, how does OKC respond next game? I don't fucking know. What I do hope, though, is that I hope Finch does not put out Terrence as like a solution kind of thing. Because I think one thing that could happen is that they will put Terrence in those actions and they will fry his fucking face off. And I hope that they don't do that. I hope that Terrence does not go in when they need like a spark plug or anything like that. Like I think they need to put him back in a situation where the Timberwolves are in control so he can feel confident enough to play like he is playing. I don't know if you want to rely on on a sophomore or rookie. He's a rookie, I think. No, I think he's a sophomore. I don't think you want to rely on a sophomore to be like, oh, like get us back, get us his game back in control or whatever. But yeah, I'm excited to see what OKC will do. I think it will be a very, 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 very great game. Yeah. Knicks and Pacers are playing right now. Let me see the score before I end the episode. Let me see. Down by 4. End of the first. Asian McConnell has fucking 6 points. What the fuck? What the fuck? Hey, dude. Jalen Brunson has 11 points, 6 free throws. 6 free throws in the first quarter is fucking unbelievable. Fucking foul baiting demons. We got 2 foul baiting demons in these finals. Insanity. Before I end, I kind of want to talk about something that happened during the week. I did watch Lilo and Stitch. Yeah. I got the cup. At the cup, Lilo and Stitch cup. Shout out Lilo and Stitch. It was pretty cool. Actually, I think in terms of like the recent live adaptions for recent children movies, I feel like it was like a pretty good one. I think the only thing that like there were a couple of things that threw me off. I feel like it started abruptly. Um, it started very abruptly to me. There were like a lot of instances where it was like a lot of decisions where I just didn't understand why they were made. Um, yeah, but it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it, to be honest. I feel like, but something one thing that I really fucking loved was the child actor for Lilo. She fucking acted her ass off, dog. She went fucking crazy. They had to give her a Grammy for that shit. They got to. Like she played that role so well, where I kind of almost like her more than I did in the animated movie. I feel like again, like I think the fact that you can like tell like the expression on her face, she sounded just like her too, which is fucking hilarious. Like she played the role so fucking well. She was a great actor. Um, yeah, I think she was a star of the movie. To be honest, I like the CGI with Stitch as well. It was really nice seeing him like when he like kind of like swallowed all the arms back in and like the antennas and stuff. It was cool as fuck. Um, but there were like some really I think the sad scenes in that movie were like really sad, like elevated a lot compared to like the animated film as well. Like there was like a scene where again spoilers skip to the end or whatever, like click off if you don't want to be spoiled. But there was like the drowning scene at the end of the film where she was just like where Stitch was kind of like they hinted at it in the beginning. It was like a Chekhov's gun kind of thing situation where Stitch like became more dense if he was like in water, and so in the end there's like a thing where like Lilo gets stuck under a broken wing ship wing, like heavy metal whatever, under some debris whatever the fuck whatever, and Stitch sees it, swims all the way down, kind of carries them, uh, and frees Lilo from the debris, and she tries to bring Lilo up to the surface, but he's literally too fucking heavy, and so like she's struggling to bring him up, and she can't bring him up, and Lilo and Stitch is just like fucking drowning. Like that dude is like literally drowning. Like we're watching him drown, and it's so sad because he's like under the water by himself. Lilo is like kind of crying and screaming for Nani and like the dude to save him, but like they just can't do anything, and because they're not really caring about Stitch in the moment, they're more so caring about Lilo. But then Lilo kind of says a thing about Onaha, I think is what it is, like about family and stuff, and it kind of forces Nani to go back down and bring and save him, but she also can't swim back up because he's too heavy. So they kind of call back to the situation where they see it was like a Lilo and Stitch going through a picture book, and I think they said it was her mom, not Nani, but like her mom had like it was like a picture of her mom holding like a big ass rock, and like walking up the seabed to the shore, and Nani at the end of the movie basically does that with Stitch, where she kind of like brings him up to the shore. And again, it was like really fucking sad, honestly, really fucking sad to be honest. But yeah, I think it was a pretty cool movie. Obviously there's like some bad decisions that were made in terms of like the adaptation, but it was cool. It was cool. Um, yeah. But anyways, that's the end of episode 6 of Eyes on the Ball. I'm gonna try to get this in as fast as possible. I know it's been like what more than a week since the last episode. But yeah, gonna try to also be consistent again. I know we skipped the week. I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I apologize, but we're gonna try to keep on being. We're gonna be consistent from here on out. We're gonna try to be consistent from here on out. Okay. But yeah, peace. See you in the next one.